Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at Dent and kind of see what's going on. It looks like it's back on track, so good for you if you were invested in Dent and you were able to buy the dip. I know a lot of my members and supporters, of course, are fully invested in Dent. So let's go ahead and take a look at that and see what's going on. And we'll just go ahead and jump right into the one-day chart and work our way down. I typically like to look at Bitcoin before we kind of go into this, just so you know, but Bitcoin's done very well today. It's no surprise that Dent has recovered, but Bitcoin has not done this well, if that makes any sense, right? We're looking at about like a 25% increase just for today alone. That doesn't include the last 3 or 4 trading days. So very good stuff from Dent, and it really just needs a little bit of stability in the market to be able to come back and recover. Now, if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, just love teaching people how to trade, and I hope you learn a thing or two here today. I have a trading community designed with that specific purpose, along with the trading academy that I'm rolling out with next month. So check that out in your own time. Now, regarding Dent, let's go ahead and see what's going on here. First of all, with the moving averages. They look a little different than most other charts. But the key takeaway here is that the 50-day SIP moving average appears to be working as a resistance for the moment. We're up over the 200, which is important, but you got to understand as well that the 50 does have a tendency of influencing the price action pretty strong on the one-day chart, I've noticed. And in that sense, it also appears to, and again, this is a little premature because this candlestick literally started 4 hours ago. So what that basically just means here is if we look at the price of, what is it? I'll just go ahead and summarize 0.005. We're at 0.005 for Dent, basically a half a cent, right? Plus or minus a little extra, but we're basically at 0.5. This Fibonacci retracement level is a strong retracement level. In other words, it's kind of holding the price action in place along with a 50. So it's worked as a strong resistance in the past, and it's currently that way again. So it's hard to say specifically if it'll break above. The key takeaway here is that we want the one-day candlestick to close above in order for us to be able to consider it to be a support level. Okay, but for right now, it's a tentative resistance. We got to respect the fact that it hasn't closed above that yet. Therefore, we might want to kind of just be patient, I guess, for lack of better terms. We can look at smaller time frames to identify, what kind of price action we're looking at there, but that's just something we see on the one-day chart. Another thing we see, of course, is price up over 50 on the RSI. That's a very good sign. That really tells us we're back in bullish territory. And as long as we're under 70, it's not considered overbought. Which is good. Ultimately, right now, you like to trend between 50 and 70 on the RSI on both the 4-hour and the one-day. Keep in mind the one-day chart, you can go up over 70 and it works as a very strong support level. A lot of times when the price comes back down. So there's a few things we can look at later. I'll evaluate Dent again here in the future, but right now the one-day chart's looking pretty good all in all. And we can see on the 4-hour chart here as well. Again, this is a newer candlestick. The price is tentatively above that resistance level. So all good things there. We're also up over both moving averages. That is equally as important. But just keep this in mind. We're extremely, and I'm not undercutting this at all. We are extremely overbought on the RSI and on the 4-hour chart. Okay, and to me that's a very impactful indicator. Tells you a lot about the condition. It's more of a midterm indication of roughly what's going on. So, the one-day chart kind of is a very slow indicator. It's under 70. It's all well and good. But this tells us in the shorter time frame, so to speak. Again, the midterm, we're at 90 on the RSI, and anything over 80 is potentially, I wouldn't say problematic, but the likelihood of it coming back down is pretty high. In fact, you can see it already happened, right? So it was upwards of 0.0055, and it's down to 50 essentially. So it's having trouble breaking this plane here, which is pretty standard for Fibonacci retracement levels, considering this was a previous resistance as well, and it's still holding the price action down. Not to say it can't break through that eventually soon, but we could see a consolidation period really close to the current price action right now before it breaks up above again. All right, so just keep that in mind. It also is important for Bitcoin to continue to be stable at this point and no significant retracements too, in order for us to see Dent continue to progress upwards or at least sideways to consolidate at this support/resistance zone. Okay, so all in all, I'm still thinking we're looking pretty good. It's just that we're overextended. We need to calm down a little bit. This is a very significant amount of increase in a short amount of time, and we have to recognize that from bottom to top. And this is a 24-hour time frame, almost 60% for Dent. It may not seem like a lot compared to the big picture and where it's been before, but with it being this low, a small increase like this is very significant. So hopefully some of you got in closer to 0.003 and you were able to buy the dip, for lack of better terms. But yeah, ultimately, Dent is taken off here today. So let's go ahead and take a look really quick at TD Sequential before we move on. We can identify here we're at 5, basically a 5 for TD Sequential. So what that implies, that basically just means we have about 4 more 4-hour candlesticks, roughly 16 hours worth of bullish continuation that could occur to the upside. Now, will it happen? Maybe. I'm speculating it won't, based on the fact that it's overextended, not only in the 4-hour chart, but you can see, even on the 1 day, that it's a very large candle, and we've had 4 days of continuation. Not that that's a bad thing at all, it's just that usually your 4th day of continuation to the upside can oftentimes be a red day. I know things are, a little different right now in crypto, but that's just a typical candlestick pattern, right? You got, 3 white soldiers plus a 4th red day. Today's 4th day is very, very strong. So that being said, not bad nor good. We're at a 5 right now, and that is essentially what it is for the 4-hour. Let's see where we're at in the 1-hour, because this is one will really tell us how extended we are. And if we look at the 1-hour chart, we can see we didn't get enough consolidation to allow for this next leg up. So the last 4 hours, I wouldn't say shouldn't have happened, but the fact that they did, and we didn't get that full-on consolidation just below the resistance there, we're going to see perhaps a retracement. I don't know how else to describe it. We shouldn't be this high this fast, right? So again, all well and good, but consider taking some profits. Maybe don't be super greedy. I know most of my Dent supporters are they're diamond hand holders, right? So just add to your position. All well and good. It's going to keep going up. The likelihood of Dent recovering back to at least halfway from where it actually originally increased to is very high, just based on the sentiment of how it works, right? It's got a lot of backing, there's a lot of investors, and obviously at this point we can see the price is responding well. A lot of coins are doing this right now. In fact, we saw Near Protocol do the same thing as well. We have a swing trade open in our trading community, and it's working favorably. And Dent appears to be the next line up, right? It's doing very good. But you got to understand, just before this leg up here, the last 4 hours, we had a significant increase here, and it was trying to consolidate. Yes, it consolidated about 5 hours, which isn't terrible. We just needed longer consolidation first, right? So just note the price could very well retrace. I think we're going to see the price consolidate somewhere between 0.004 and 0.005. I think that's a strong likelihood. I don't think we're going to break through this resistance immediately. If so, just be prepared for it to pull back and maybe test that as a support level before it continues higher. Commonly, when you break a resistance zone, the price comes down to retest that level before it increases again. All right, let's go ahead and see what TD Sequential, what Ichimoku Cloud is telling us. Obviously, all good things here. Typically, when you see the price above the cloud, the conversion line above the baseline, and the lagging span clear of any price action, it's a good consideration to keep your position open. So we have no selling pressure here, so to speak, right? So we don't really have anything besides the RSI telling us we're overextended. Yes, of course, TD Sequential is telling us that on the 1 hour, but it's not there on the 4 hour yet. So there is a possibility the price will continue. But what I'm getting at here is with this large candle wick up here, the price action has to continue to increase. Otherwise, in roughly 12 hours, we're going to see TD Sequential tell us we want to close our position. Okay. And when I say close your position, doesn't mean you just arbitrarily do that. If you have a day trade or a short-term swing trade, that's what it applies to. It doesn't necessarily apply to a long-term swing trade or a hodl trade. Okay. So bear that in mind. But all in all, really, we have some really good, awesome scenarios here for Dent. It's looking extremely well. And big picture, I would say that based on its history and how well it can ramp up, I would say 0.008 is a very strong likelihood in the next couple of days. I want to be apprehensive and say it's not going to happen in a couple of days, but it has a history of allowing that to occur, right? It increases very hard, very fast, often. But it also sells off pretty hard too. It's an interesting dynamic the way that Dent works, but obviously you can see how strong it can be when it takes off. So I'm not limiting that. But conservatively, we want it to consolidate. We want it to go sideways. We don't want it to hit 0.008 in the next couple of days. We want that to happen in the next week or two so we have a healthy continuation and a good pattern. Because unfortunately, Dent has a tendency of just going straight up and then unfortunately getting rocked straight down. So you can kind of see this history, right? So the likelihood of it's there. I would keep your position open until we get some further signals to possibly close them. And just note that dollar cost averaging is a good strategic approach in this scenario right now. Okay, so I hope this was beneficial and this cleared up a couple of things for you. I'll cover Dent again here in the near future, of course, and I hope that we can look forward to getting to know you better as well. If you decide to join my trading community, have yourself a great rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.